Unfortunately, the game went how none of us wanted it to go. The Broncos did not end up becoming victorious against the Buffalo Bills. But nonetheless, I'm still hopeful for the future for the Broncos. I think all is still looking up. The first half, especially the first quarter, gave me a lot of hope for the future for this team. And although we didn't get it done today, it doesn't mean that's going to stop us from getting it done in the future. And I want to welcome everybody into the DNVR Broncos post-game show presented by Bet365. You can download the Bet365 app and use code DNVR365, deposit $10, and place a bet of $5 to get $150 in bonus bets. I want to welcome everybody in. I'm Todd Davis. This is the Toyota Lounge. Got my friends Jurrell Casey, Knowshon Moreno, RK. We're all here to break down this Buffalo Bills loss. And first off, let's just talk about our big takeaways from today. What did you guys see? What are you guys happy with? What are you guys unhappy with? What are the big takeaways?
I'll go. Todd, we talked about it all week. Most important thing for the Broncos to do is stop the run.
Yep.
If you didn't stop the run, everything else was going to be available to the Bills, and it was going to be incredibly hard to stop this offense. And they didn't do it.
Yeah.
In the end, I'll find the stats here in a second, but the Bills were able to get themselves in second and manageable, third and manageable, a couple fourth and shorts, and it felt like the entire day went by with the Broncos really unable to put them in third and long, which was really the best chance for them to have any success. On the day, the Bills averaged 4.8 yards per carry. And that's with James Cook averaging 5.2, Josh Allen averaging 5.8, and Ty Johnson averaging 4.9. If you told me that before the game, I would have said we lose.
Yeah.
And we probably lose convincingly, and that's what happened.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I look at this one as not on the disappointing aspect of things. I feel like we're ahead of schedule when it comes to Denver Broncos. No one expected us to be here. We get to the playoffs where it doesn't matter what the record is in the regular season. Everyone's at an even playing field. You can go out and you try to win a game. You know what I mean? It just wasn't our game today. So I don't see this by any means a disappointment.
Yeah.
I see that's something that we can just look forward to going into the future. You know what I mean? We got the quarterback, right, that we feel that can lead us to where we got this year, right, the playoffs. And now we got to build it now. I look at a George Payton. I look at a Surtain Payton. What are they going to do in this offseason to put some pieces around Bo Nix in this offense? Strengthen his defense. It is what it is. You know what I mean? We all were hopeful coming into this game that they can beat the Bills.
Yeah.
It started off really hot early. We're like, we up 7-0. Yep. Even going into half, we missed the field goal, which
That's what did it, though.
Todd was like, bro, it's over right here. He said that, and I'm like, dang, it's only 7. It's only 3 to, it was 7 to 10 at the time. And if you look at it, going into half, that's a win for the Broncos. You know what I mean? You're right there. You're 3 points away from, being in the lead going into half. You can't look at that as a negative, but I understand, they missed that field goal. It's not an even 0-0 going into half, but at the end of the day, things didn't work out in our favor. People might want to put this on the defense, but I always still look at the offense. No matter what that other team is doing on offense, if they're putting up points, we have to capitalize, and we got to go out there and score points. It's not always on the defense. So I feel like this whole year, I never really put it on the defense, even when they did go out and didn't play their best, because at the end of the day, you still do need to put points on the board to win. So hopefully they could do that in the offseason, but at the end of the day, we know we didn't get it done. And it is what it is, but I don't see this as that much of a negative. I know we're all heartbroken that we didn't continue to go forward, right? But you got to look at the season, and a lot of positive things happened this year.
I think the biggest thing I got of this is the inconsistency. I think we haven't been consistent all year long.
Yeah.
We have these games where we have a phenomenal game for both sides of the ball, and then the next game we come out, look like we don't know what the heck is going on. And that was kind of the thing that happened today. We go out there last week, we put up a phenomenal game on both sides of the ball, and we come out today and we look like we don't know what's going on in any phase of the game.
Yeah.
And when we're looking for an overall complete game, we got the complete opposite. And that's what I'm looking for next year, to see if we can come back and pick consistent games together, back-to-back weeks. And I feel like that's where we will get over that hump and be able to become a true competitor, a true contender for a Super Bowl team. Right now, being consistent in this most important part of the year, being inconsistent ain't what we need. But I would love to see them get a little bit better in that aspect of the game, for sure.
Well, I think you look at the entire game and it wasn't consistent in any way. The first quarter was very good. Second quarter was even solid. And then after halftime, it felt like the Bills kind of just ran away with the game. And going back to your point, Knowshon, about that field goal, the reason why I felt like the game was over is because we had all the momentum going into the half. At that point, we knew the Bills got the ball back, but if we were able to score there, I think we take momentum away from the Buffalo Bills. And when you're an underdog, anytime you have a chance to capitalize and get points and take momentum away from the other team, you have to make sure you get it. So we didn't score then, but we went on to not score at any other point within the game. So I think that was a huge miss for us. And I think had we got that, I'm not saying we would have won this game, but I think we would have found a way to be more competitive, have more juice, have more energy in the later quarters of this game.
I mean, you think to like March Madness when you see a big upset.
Yeah.
The underdog team always makes a ton of big moments, big plays, and you rarely see the big mistake. And I think that was the thing for the Broncos today. When you started to feel it slip away, it was the missed field goal. Court had a big drop.
Yeah.
Troy Franklin had a big drop, and it was just like, you can't afford to do this when you're the underdog in this way. But going back to what Knowshon said about this season be a success, I mean, let's go back to before the season, the way that people felt about this team. USA Today predicted the Broncos to go 4-13.
Yeah.
ESPN had the Broncos number 31 in the power rankings before the season. PFF had the Broncos as the 31st best roster in the NFL. And Pro Football Network had the Broncos as the favorites to get the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
This team was expected to be garbage. And they got all the way to the playoffs and played a really strong half against the Bills at Buffalo. And then, the wheels kind of came off after that. This season is absolutely a success. This team is way ahead of schedule. And it feels very much like they have their franchise quarterback, which makes this season, to me, a 10 out of 10 success compared to what the expectations were. Of course, true success in a season can truly only be measured by winning a Super Bowl. But other than that, when you look relatively against what people expected this team to do, they outperformed it by so much that, I mean, think about how excited we're going to be about this team once they make a couple moves in the offseason and after the draft and going into training camp next year. Like, this finally feels like the Broncos have a true path that is pointed upwards.
Yeah, when you look at our roster, I mean, you see the multiple players that were named to the Pro Bowl list and the All-Pro list. We were definitely more talented than people expected. But the great thing about this that I see is I feel like this is the least talented we will be as a team for the foreseeable future.
Yes.
We're only going to get better. We're only going to have more draft picks come in. We're only going to do more in free agency. We're only going to have more cap once we're done with the Russell Wilson and all the money we're paying him. Like, we're only going to get better as a team. A lot of the guys that we had that were all pro or Pro Bowl players are locked up for the next 3, 4, or 5 years. So this team should get better as time goes on, and I'm hopeful that they do.
Definitely. So we have our quarterback of the future. Now going into the offseason, what are the top positions are we necessarily targeting, right? We say we're looking for for sure running back that can come in and tote the ball at least 10 to 15 carries a game. Is that what we're looking for, or is that necessarily play call? That's something we got to look for going to next year, right? And then on top of that, solidifying, I guess, for sure number 1 receiver that we can target all the time, that we can make those big plays. I just want to know, like, what are we really looking for going? Because I think the pieces we have are pretty decent. Ain't like we had a bad squad, right? So do it come down to necessarily targeting new players that can fulfill a better role? Or is it necessarily the play call need to get a little bit better for our offense going forward this next season? What do you think?
For me, it would be, we already showed that we can do it on the offensive side. I mean, not at a high caliber, but we were able to do some good things with not the superstar.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Yes. Sutton is, a really, really good player, but there were some other players that got it done. We already showed that I don't think we go in there and try to look for a tight end because that's just not what this offense is looking for. Just maybe a running back that it don't even have to be a first-round running back, I don't think. You know what I mean? I just don't think that's a part of what Sean is trying to do. I think we just need a guy in the backfield that can get you to 4 yards to 3 yards, and it is what it is. We don't need that 50-yard explosive. If it does come, it comes. But for me, I think they need to tighten up on this defense, man. I think defense does win championships. Tighten up that defensive line in the middle there. Tighten up on the linebacking core, right? And, you know what I mean? So we can stop that run. And I think it's more so on the offensive side, on the defensive side, but get some offensive
What happened to
weapons.
it never being on the defense? You were saying for weeks that the defense, you know what I'm saying, they got credit in your book. You know what I'm saying? They've done so much for the team, and now you
Tighten
flipped
it up.
on us.
No. I just want to tighten it up. I'm not flipping it at all. I think I didn't put any game on the defense this whole year.
But this one.
No, I don't even put this one on because you know it's going to be a high-scoring game.
Yes.
Like, really, do you really think you can hold, Josh Allen in that offense to 10 points, to 14 points? No, you know you're going to be in that 20s. So you got to be able to score. But at the same time, I still feel like you need to tighten up some pieces on that defense to make it even more elite. And on offense, just get players that you can mold, like the Champagne likes to mold them, that you can mold and that kind of fits your offense. I don't think you really necessarily need a star on the offense because we didn't have a star this year, even with Sutton on the team. So I think on that defensive side, let's tighten that up a little bit more and then see where it goes.
For me, it's best weapon available. When it comes to the first round pick, we'll see what happens in free agency. Maybe the Broncos go get a great weapon in free agency. But to me, when it comes into the draft, it's best weapon available, whether that is a running back, a tight end, or a wide receiver. I do think that the Broncos need a star on the offensive side of the ball. Hopefully Bo Nix can be that guy, but I look at the Bengals and what they put out there for Joe Burrow. And after year one, he was hurt. They came back, they brought in Jamar Chase. They had T. Higgins. And together, and they also had Joe Mixon.
But how far did that get them? I feel like if their defense
It got them to a Super Bowl.
If their defense was tighter, I feel like they could have won the whole thing.
Yes,
even
but
this year.
I'm not even saying we need Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Joe Mixon. I just want one of those guys.
But with those guys, you had
Interesting.
Joe Mixon. You had a top-tier running back who actually producing almost close to 1,000 yards a season.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm at. That's why I asked the question, like, do we blame it on Sean Payton because he don't envision the run game?
No.
Or do we
know,
go
bro.
and try to figure out how we can implement a run game? Because I feel like everyone in his offense, no matter what year, no matter what team he has been with so far, the reason they come up short is they don't have no real run game.
Yeah. I mean, and so that means
But do you think we ran
his
the ball
offense
well
is
today?
great, but
Sebastian
no
Jeff
run
is the
game.
best weapon available when you pick like that.
Did we run the ball well today?
Absolutely not.
But that's crazy because Javonte was averaging 4.1 a carry. Yes, he only had 7 for 29, but he's averaging 4.
They're not
Give him
giving
20.
the ball.
Give him 22.
And that's what I'm saying. Do
Yeah.
we blame Sean Payton for those reasons why we not solidifying a dominant offense over there? Because a team that can run the ball and control the ball wins the game.
That's
I
just
feel
not
like
this
the-
kind of offense we are, though.
I feel like the game
How did
flow
we
kind
get
of
there is what I'm trying to figure
win
out.
against the running game.
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
Like,
Say that again?
As the game flow kind of slipped away from the running game, like the game's
Yeah,
getting
this
out of
game
hand
for sure,
further and
definitely.
further and further, so it's harder and harder to run the ball. I mean, if it weren't for a couple breaks that went against the Broncos, I think they could have stayed in their normal offense, which looks really good to start the game.
For sure.
And it just like, they're not sharp enough yet. You know, like you watch the Bills and it just feels sharp. Their run game is sharp. Their pass game is sharp. The Broncos looked like an inexperienced team that hadn't been in the playoffs yet today, and that's what they are. And so, I feel like as they get, more experience with Bo Nix, more weapons hopefully for Bo Nix, a better running game, you'll see that sharpness come behind it.
So give me the position, though, that you would like to. Just give me the position. Wide receiver, running back.
You said best available. Best weapon available.
Best weapon
On
available.
offense.
Best
on
available.
offense.
Not on defense at all.
No, I mean, I think the defense is good enough, and I think you can fix some things in free agency.
Okay.
Yeah, I
So on
agree.
offense.
I think offense is definitely where we have to go with the next player that we add to this roster. I mean, our defense has been phenomenal all year long. This game they had some hiccups, but I don't think they were enough hiccups to warrant us to try and use a first-round pick on a defensive player.
I say top-tier linebacker.
I
say top-tier linebacker.
That's what I'm saying.
Not
early.
first.
Because you can
Not
get
early.
something sexy in the second or third when it comes to receivers or running backs.
I feel like we have no linebacker today
what I'm
that
saying.
can play both
It's not
the
true.
run and play
But
coverage.
Todd,
They
can I
haven't
get
been bad enough to where you feel like you don't need a running back over a linebacker.
Our
But you
run
don't think
game
I
has
can get
been
something
our run
sexy?
game has been poor
where?
because of our run fits.
That's
Guys.
true.
Our line is designed. Our line is designed to slant.
I
When you have lines
understand.
that are designed to slant, you need linebackers that can come downhill and fill in holes.
I'm with him
When your
on that.
linebacker is standing 5 yards back and taking on the blocker like this, we need linebackers that can meet you at that line of scrimmage and stop the run hole.
I
We don't
understand
have
what
those.
you guys are saying.
We don't
Our
have
Also,
those.
Alex Singleton was out most of the season.
Yes, our linebackers have not had the best
We
3
need a
games.
linebacker.
But before those last 3 games, there have been turnovers, there have been sacks, there's been forced fumbles, there's been picks. They have done enough to put this team in a good position to win the game.
At the middle linebacker position, no, we're talking about outside linebacker, yes, but not in the middle. Let's be
I'm
real.
saying over needing a running back, absolutely.
Nah, I think you can really honestly get a great back in the third, in the second. You can get a really good receiver in the second, third. Like, if you got a great defensive player there early,
that? Did we
you
do that?
grab
To me,
that.
there's no Roquan Smith in this draft.
Okay.
And we'll get closer to that, as we get into the draft
Right.
process. But if there was, I would say.
What about a high corner? A high corner. Would you pick
What do you
that
mean
up?
we don't need a corner?
Why not to couple up with
Surtain.
Surtain on
Randy
the
Moss
side?
has been balling all year. Had he not gotten injured, he was
I
having a
want
great
more.
year.
I want more.
This is crazy.
I want more.
I don't know, man.
don't understand if the-
I watched Devon Bailey drop passes. I watched Cortland Sutton drop passes. I watched Troy Flanken drop passes today, and I'm just like, and Cortland
A consistent
honestly
receiver, for
has
sure.
had a great season. So
Yeah.
to me, he's one piece.
Yes.
I need another guy that I'm just like,
Pieces.
I trust
You
that
need a
guy.
consistent
Need
receiver
pieces.
for sure.
And you talked about Joe Burrow. They have 2 great wide receivers and a great running back. Right now, we have a good wide receiver, and everybody else, including the tight ends, are not special right now. Can they be? I don't know. We'll have to see with time. But I think the potential to go out there and get somebody who is, let's say, a 5-star first-round draft pick, I think they have more potential to help our offense take that next leap before we go get something on defense.
But all I'm saying is, Todd, when it comes to recruiting, I feel like you don't necessarily, that doesn't have to be a first round pick. Those players that you're talking about, those playmakers on offense, doesn't necessarily have to be in the first round.
But your odds of hitting are way more in the first round.
if you say
You
so,
don't
but
need a first-round running back, but if you get a first-round running back like Gentry or
but
Saquon,
we
like
ain't
the
gonna
odds
get
of them,
Yeah.
the odds of them being successful. There's a couple good running backs. In
Yeah,
this
there's a
draft.
couple nice ones that you could get in a second.
Before-
We don't have to get Gentry or a wide receiver in that first.
Before we move on, I want to ask this because last year, after Coach Prime's first season in Boulder, he said, I need about 7-8 dogs before I can really compete. And I think they got really close. That's aside from the point. How close are the Broncos? How many guys do they need? Are they? To me, it's like there may be like three players away,
Definitely.
the right guys
They
from
don't go
competing at
destroy
that
this
level.
team in the off season
3 guys.
and get rid of folks and stuff like this. This team is right where they need to be. Like you said, it's like 1 or 2 pieces that they're missing: a good receiver and for sure blocking. I think a for sure blocking tight end, something that would help the O line a little bit more to get some umph on that run game a little bit. Because you have the pieces. Like I said, it's just now it's become play calling and getting that receiver that's consistent with catching the ball. Like, we had too many drops this year that were just like, come on.
Yep.
Bo could have had Dean there 5,000 yards on the season if he just catch the ball, right?
It's true.
A
That
lot of
should
folks
get better,
just
though.
doesn't catch the rock and they're wide open. It's not like contested type like, well, okay, that was contested. Like, wide open. You had a lot of those just wide
It
open
was a
drops.
couple, but at the same time, you would expect that to get better with experience as well. We had a lot of young guys on that wide receiver core. You talking about
Yeah.
talking about Vele, we talking about some of these guys, right? I mean, I would assume that gets a little bit better, but no, I wouldn't mind a piece at the wide receiver. I'm just saying, I feel like I can get that later in the draft as a GM. I feel like I can get that later. I don't have to waste that early. I feel like if a Gentry's there, or as a running back, oh yeah, take that. You know what I mean? If a receiver's there, maybe take it. But if I can get a star on the offensive line, a defensive line, or if I can get a star backer or a backer that can get it done, I feel like I'll take him first and then take my chances later on in the rounds to get some other players.
Well,
I don't know.
We'll have to see. I mean, we'll have this conversation for the next couple months.
How many pieces, Todd?
4.
Yeah, at least 4 to 5.
I think they're 4 players away.
Okay.
They get
At least
4
4 to 5.
That's a great place to be.
4 legitimate players. I think they'll be in a good position.
That's a great
But
place to be.
I think this loss in Buffalo is going to do more to help the team than hurt the team because you realize you're just not there yet. You're in a good spot, but you're just not there yet. Before we go any further, I got to give a shout out to our friends over at Ice Shaker. You guys, if you guys are looking for shakers or drinks or cups that keep your drink cold for multiple hours, you got to check out our friends over at Ice Shaker. It is now officially licensed for the NFL, NHL, MLB, NCAA, and NBA. So if you want team licensed stuff to drink out of, check out our friends over at Ice Shaker. It was created by the Gronkowski brothers, and they do a lot of good things, good businessmen, so they definitely have a great product here for you guys to try. It's kitchen grade stainless steel bottles that won't absorb odor like plastic ones do. The patented twist in agitator that breaks up powders but is silent when you shake it instead of that annoying ball rattling around the cup. So you can check out our friends over at Ice Shaker. Use code AllCity25 for 25% off your order. Ice Shaker, show your support for your teams with the best branded workout bottles on the market. Ice Shaker.
Shout out to our guys at Mando. Mando is a man's deodorant brand that is hyper-focused on keeping every aspect of a man's body smelling fresh and clean. Every aspect. Mando overly calls out more colorful parts of man's bodies, such as pits, belly, buttons, balls, blood cracks, girdles, and more. So it's just keep you fresh in every area of your body.
Baby.
Go get that Mando. Their scents are geared towards men with options like bourbon. You got Cloverwood. You got Mount Fiji. You got Pro Sports. So come in all varieties. But you want to go get that thing, get freshened up, go get you some Mando, check it out, and holla at us, man.
Get yourself some Mando if you want to stay fresh and clean. You know what I'm saying?
Gotta keep the intersection.
72 hours.
Before you go meet up with that young lady, you go meet up with your wife, man. Make sure you check out
Mando.
Mando.
It's Mando that you got some Mando on.
It's Mando. There you go.
For sure.
So let's get back into this game, man. The first quarter, I thought it looked great. Troy Franklin, Bo Nix, they finally connected. We wanted that connection all year long, and they couldn't find a way to make it work. But in the first quarter, went down 43-yard touchdown to Franklin, and it looked like the Broncos were going to find a way to win this game. What did you guys see in the first quarter?
Great game plan, great scheme, and to me, no one ever likes to hear this, but after that, I just felt like they were a centimeter off.
Yeah.
Like the script was incredible, and everyone executed. And then when it got a little off script and they just needed to make big plays, it was just like they're so close.
Yeah.
So close. There's a play up the sideline to Vele. There's a back shoulder throw to Cortland that they weren't on the same page. There's a drop from Troy Franklin. It was just like, I never felt like, I saw someone in the comments say like, horrific game plan from Sean Payton. I didn't even feel like that. And then the other part of it is, and I think this is actually a feather in the cap of Bo Nix, the Bills kind of played keep away. They played slow, methodical. They were just trying to move down there. And when you look back at how many offensive plays the Broncos had and what the time of possession actually was, they didn't have a chance to get back in that rhythm that they had on the first drive because the Bills held the ball the entire rest of the game.
Yeah.
That was because they were scared of Bo.
I don't say it was scared. I just think that was their game plan was like, don't let them cook. Like keep the ball away if we can run the ball like this. Because it's so tempting when you have Josh Allen to be like, just let it fly. They saw that they were averaging 5 yards a carry, like just keep running it.
Josh Allen,
they're not going to be able to get in the rhythm offensively.
They played the best way of football that you know, and that's run the football, right? Yeah. They was able to run the ball, and if you can keep possession of the football as much as possible, and you toting the ball like you say 4 or 5 yards to carry, that's easy football. Ain't no way I'm going to let Bo get the ball back.
Right.
And so that's what they did today. I think they did a great job of that, getting up early, 10 points, and like they said, they missed the field goal. Once you miss that field goal, Now we really got the ball game in our hands. You go into halftime, you already up. One more came right back out. Well, they kicked the field goal right before going in. Now it's 13-7 before half. Now all you got to do is keep the ball and run the ball as much as you can. Don't let them score again. You won the game. And sorry enough, they let them score a couple more times. Yeah. But they didn't even try to really go down there daggering the ball. They just got some quick open. They overloaded the offense to one side. Got a couple of guys coming across the field, hit them with some big plays downfield. But they really was running, controlling the offense with running the ball.
Well, of course. We talked about it before the show. Like, that's why the game plan, or the most important key to the game, was not actually stopping Josh Allen. It was stopping the run. Because when you play in the National Football League, you quickly find out if you're able to run the football, or a team is able to run the football on you, that opens up their entire playbook. And they have control of the game. Because, like you say, they're going to win time of possession if they can run the football. Yep. They're going to be able to put together 7, 8, 9, 10 play drives, keep your defense on the field. They're going to be able to, when the score is tight, find a way to win the game because you can't get them off the field. So, unfortunately, the Bills were playing good offense all year, running the ball well, and they did again tonight. And we didn't get any turnovers.
Fumble.
There was nothing we did to take the ball away or stop a long drive that they had, just like the Eagles, I think, came with a great force on the initial kickoff of this game that's on right now. We didn't have anything that was created by our defense to take the ball away, to put our offense in good field position, and stop the Bills on a drive.
Yeah, and that sometimes happens. Sometimes happens. And we all mentioned it, the run game, especially when you're up in the playoffs. And it's working. You're going to do what's working. You know what I mean? And if we would have been up in the second half, we would have did the same thing. So I don't really see anything different with that. But yeah, like you said, man, where was that? That special play on defense where the defense maybe gets a pick six. Those sometimes don't happen, and we didn't get it today. We needed more from the offense to kind of make it a showdown, make it a high-scoring game, and we just didn't have enough to do that. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I still feel like, Jay, that we still ahead of the schedule. You know what I mean? Especially when it comes to Bo, we're ahead of the schedule. You know what I mean? The man damn near 30. The man 25. Listen, I know everyone's saying we got 10 years with him, but I feel like this next 5 years really is a good span. You know what I mean? And the next 5, after 5, he's going to be 30 years old. You know what I mean? So then what do we – I'm just saying. He ain't going – we saw with Russell Wilson. Yeah. He was great early in his career, right? And then once it got a little bit later in his career, the running kind of came down.
Well, it's also the contract stuff because – after the 5th year, you got to pay him a shit ton of money.
Yeah. Right. So
a lot of money.
We kind of saw that with him. You know what I mean? He ain't gonna be able to run forever. You know what I mean? So I think we're in good position. We're in really good position, especially with our quarterback position.
Let me open a can of worms here because I saw Todd tweet about this, and so I just want to unravel this real quick. All three of you have spent a lot of time in NFL games and on NFL sidelines.
Yep.
Have you ever seen a ref walk all the way over to the bench to talk to the quarterback and seemingly apologize for something that he was upset about?
Not at all. That was
special right
outrageous to me. And ultimately, I just thought back. There was a clip of Michael Jordan playing in the NBA, and he said something to the ref like, "Hey, they're fouling me, ref." And the ref was like, my bad, Mike. I didn't see it. Let me know, Mike. I'll call it if you tell me. That's what I felt like was being said to Josh Allen. It's like, my fault, Josh. I didn't see it. If you let me know that they're, hitting you in the helmet or they're doing too much, a little bit of unnecessary roughness, I'll call it. I've never seen a ref go over and have a conversation with a player on the mid-game.
No, it was on the bench. That's what I'm saying. It's usually in the middle of the field, like when they're coming out on offense, and he might say something. Yeah, you might say something to him real quick before they go into the huddle and call their play. But he was over at the bench.
It's never in the timeout either. It's like mid-change of possession. Mid-change of possession walking over and doing it.
And regardless, the optics are terrible because right after that is when Brandon Jones gets hit for the unnecessary roughness, which, if it's college, I bet you they pick up that flag because they review it for targeting. They say it's not targeting, It was shoulder to shoulder, in my opinion. And then a couple plays after that, it's the questionable catch in the back of the end zone, which effectively ended the game, and in my opinion, shouldn't have been a catch. And regardless of whether that had anything to do with the conversation on the sidelines, it's a bad look for the league that there's a conversation with a quarterback on the sidelines that seems like an apology after he's very upset. And then the very next thing that happens is 2 calls go in favor of the Bills.
And Josh said they had to do it. So,
and that's the part that's so funny about the game, right? it's like that myth. People like, oh, the game is rigged, game is made because of these situations. Exactly. Because of these situations where we don't know what's really going on in this situation, but sure enough, the cameras catch this ref over on the sideline. Like, dude, what are you doing? It's nothing that's that important that's going on in the game anyway.
Yes.
That you need to come over here and apologize to this guy or talk to him about any situation, what's going on. So it was definitely strange to see that. And I will hope they have some of that. You know, they got everything on TV copy, so they got to have something that get catch what they were saying, what was going on. They're going to have that come out.
Talk about sidelines. What about Sean Payton and Vance Joseph?
Oh, boy.
I didn't see that.
They was getting hotty.
They were going at it with each other a little bit. And it was
almost, what, third, like mid-third?
Yeah. It was almost like Sean Payton was like, all right, we don't know what they were saying.
You be Sean, I'll be Vance.
All right, I'm Sean. Like, bro, what y'all doing? Why y'all playing that defense? Like,
what you mean what we doing? Look at your offense.
That's how
That's how I see like over there.
Would you say that to your boss?
Hey, if I needed to. If it was if my defense had been balling all year saving everybody's butts, and you want to come over here and question me, you know what I'm saying, 30 minutes into the game, when we trying our best to get a stop, I might have something to say.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like, right? He was kind of getting on him about obviously something that he was calling or obviously something the defense was doing, right? And I would have been the same way that you were, Todd. Like, bro, come on, bro. Like, I get what we're doing, and of course we're not playing the best. But what y'all doing over there, bro?
Exactly.
Y'all got 7 points. It ain't like y'all ain't get just the same amount of down the distance as the other person. You got your first down. Go ahead and go down there and score. You feel me? So that was kind of interesting, just seeing them kind of going at it on the sideline. But hey, tempers flare. There's always things said during the game, man. It is what it is. That's the heat of the battle. Obviously, I don't think there's no, animosity or something against each other, right? It's just like, you want to win the game, you know what I'm saying? And what the heck y'all doing over there? But it was really interesting to see them both going at it.
And both sides of the ball struggled. I mean, we had 145 yards passing and 79 yards rushing. We had literally the Bills had more than double the amount of yards almost double the amount of yards that we had. So neither side of the ball performed well tonight. So it wasn't just one side of the ball that could have done better. Like, we both struggled immensely in the game.
Do you know what the time of possession was?
Yeah, I do, because I have it pulled up, but I don't.
Don't say it. Do you guys know what the time of possession was?
So, what the Broncos had and then what they had?
Yeah.
I would say like 30 for them, and then the rest for us.
It was 41 minutes for the Bengals, 18 minutes for the Broncos.
Yeah.
And that's why when you were saying those stats about passing yards and rushing yards, I mean, 145 passing yards and 79 rushing yards sounds really bad.
Yes.
But they never had the ball. I mean, Bo threw the ball in the end 22 times, and that includes some garbage time stuff, but like, they never had the ball. They had no opportunities to create stuff. And then when they did get the football, there was so much pressure, It's like I get that, the other team just went and had the ball for 7-8 minutes. We have to go score on this drive.
What happened when they scored 7? They came back and scored on us 3, but then they kept going. So I see what you're saying, but that's why you have to take advantage.
Here's the beef. What the hell are you talking about? What you doing?
Look at your defense. Look at your offense. I love that, though. I love that.
Get away from me, man.
Right. But you do have to take advantage of those possessions that you do have, though, Jay. I feel like I get it. Yeah, you don't have many. That's what makes each possession even more priceless, even more that much eager for you to go down and score. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't get many of those opportunities, especially versus a good team.
And I think that is part of the Bills' game plan.
Yes.
Was put all the pressure on the Broncos offense that you're going to have to be perfect when you have the rock.
But this is where I have to push back just a little bit. Both teams had 8 drives. So it wasn't a matter of we didn't get opportunities to hold on to the football or shift the time of possession. It's that when we had the ball, it was 5 yards and a touchdown. Then it was a 3 and out. Then it was 9 plays, no touchdown. Then it was 8 plays. Then we went 3 and out, 3 and out, 6 plays, nothing, 4 plays, negative yards. Like, that was the problem, is that every time the Bills had the football, it was a 14-play drive here, a 9-play drive here, 11-play drive here, 13-play drive.
Yeah.
They just were putting together better drives than we were. They didn't have more opportunities to touch the football. We both had 8 drives.
My God.
Interesting.
The Bills' shortest drive of the day was 3 plays, and it was a touchdown.
Yeah.
After that, it was 5 plays. That was how they ran the clock out at the end of the game. The other ones, 12, 13, 11, 8, 9, and 14.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't get them off the field.
Yep.
Yeah.
When you can't get a team off the field, but then at the same time you can't sustain drives. Wait,
Yes.
why are they taking the ball out again? Did they just
I
have
don't
a
know.
fumble?
Scored. No, they scored.
I know, but they just had a fumble on the kick return.
Don't do it again.
Oh,
That was the
shoot.
first play of the game.
I know, but
And
I'm
they
saying
got a
that
flag
if
now.
you get kicked the ball
you
again,
don't
just,
do it.
Just let it go through the end zone.
I feel you.
And now they got a holding, so they're going back to their 10-yard line.
Oh, this is starting off bad for the Green Bay Packers. But back to the Broncos. I just feel like the Broncos, like we said, we're 4 to 5 pieces away from being a Super Bowl contending team. Now, if we have another offseason like we did in 2013, maybe then we can be
14.
a Super Bowl contending team next year. But I think we are still, about 2 yards away from really being the team that we want to be, that pushes for the AFC West to win that, and also pushes for like AFC championships and get into the Super Bowl.
I don't disagree, but I'm happy that we're there.
Yeah.
Because to me, if you asked me before the season how many players is this team away, I always said, well, first of all, I got to know if they have a quarterback.
Yep.
And if they don't have that, then none of the rest of it matters. Now that box is checked. And then I would have said they probably are 7, 8 guys away, but they had guys step up this year and show that they can be a difference makers for this team. Nick Bonito being an example.
Yep.
Riley Moss, before he got hurt, being an example. And then you go through that line and you say, several guys this year proved that they can be on a team that goes to the playoffs.
Yep.
You add some guys who have already been there in free agency and nail 2 draft picks, and you can compete for the division next year. I truly believe that.
And that's the beautiful part about the NFL, right? Is that you have a lot of young guys who getting great experience right now. Like you're saying, a year that y'all didn't expect it, and you get in the playoffs, you get the young guys some experience, and then on next year you get, like you said, you get that 1 or 2 guys that come out of the draft and they can hit it big for y'all. And now you put together a veteran team with some young guys, right? And that's the kind of concept we're looking for going forward. And you got a veteran quarterback in Bo Nix, who's you say is an older guy, who's young, but he's still kind of young, who now can lead a team with a lot of people who have some experience in some key positions. And now you bring a couple young guys with some good talent around there. And I say about time year 3 come, if he's not holding down the lead by then it's time to move on. But I think this is going to be a great fit for him to go and project this Denver's team going forward for sure.
And just
I think it's a good spot for it.
Just to add to that, Bo came into this team as a rookie fighting for a spot. Like he had to win a quarterback battle to be the starting quarterback. Going into next year, he's the guy.
He's that guy. Yeah.
Everyone on the team looks at him like he's the leader of the team,
Let's
and
go,
I think
Bo.
that'll be a positive thing.
Yeah, and like you said, it comes with experience. He's an older player, but it's the first year in the league. I mean, the man's damn near 30. Yeah, all right.
No,
So
he's 24.
he's 25. He's about to be 25. All right, so let's not get it twisted.
So is Jaden Daniels. So is Michael Penix.
First of all, Jaden Daniels just turned 24. Okay, in December. All right.
I don't think
Bo-
1 year is a big difference.
A couple months here and
Listen,
there.
when I was 25, I was in my 3rd year. Right? So it makes a big difference, I feel like. But, and that's not a knock on him. That's not a bad
I want to
thing.
give you a round of applause because Bo Nix was the first Broncos rookie to have, 5 Rookie of the Week since Knowshon Moreno.
I
So
like
you know what I'm
that.
saying?
Also, shout out
that.
Bo Nix and Troy Franklin. First ever rookie-to-rookie touchdown combination in NFL history in the playoffs.
Oh,
Wow.
that's sick. That's
Yes.
sick. And like I said, when we talk about the age, that's not a knock. It is what it is. You can't control that, you know what I'm saying? But he's going to get better with age, you know what I'm saying? He's going to get better with the experience and getting those reps, you know what I mean? So it's not a bad thing, you know what I mean? I think we are ahead of schedule when it comes to that.
I think we are ahead of schedule. I'm definitely betting on the Broncos. And if you guys want to get in on the bet and you feel like the Broncos are the right team for you, check out our friends over at Bet365. Every day they power up the odds on hundreds of bets to give you a chance to win more with over 10,000 boosts every month. They boost specific markets, your winnings, and even parlays. You can keep an eye out for our custom DNVR bets and boosts. And over the course of the season, we did a really good job of putting some bets out there that you guys end up winning from. And hopefully you guys continue to bet with Bet365 because they are the best betting app out there. And as an official partner of the Denver Nuggets and the Colorado Avalanche, new customers can now get $150 in bonus bets when you sign up You bet $5, use code DNVR365, deposit $10, and place a bet of $5 to get $150 in bonus bets. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. You must be 21 or older and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
Also, shout out to the official vehicle of DNVR and the official sponsor of this set we're setting on right now, and that is, of course, Toyota. I drive a Toyota every day. I've got the RAV4. I absolutely love it. I'm trying to upgrade to that 4Runner. My guy Spence, who was here earlier, has the brand new Tundra. All of those Toyotas are beautiful. I can't get over all the different features they have. It basically have self-driving, which I didn't learn until I went on a road trip with my Toyota, hit that cruise control, and it was just guiding me on the lanes. I didn't even really have to do anything. It's a beautiful thing. So if you're looking for a new Toyota of your own, go over and check out a Front Range Toyota store at a location near you. That's AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is the official automotive partner of the NFL and the official vehicle of DNVR. Before I get out of here, boys, I'm going to tap my guy Henry in.
You about to do a tap out?
Yeah.
Tapping one?
Yeah,
we go.
WWE.
Something special for y'all tonight. We get a tag team.
What you about to do? You about to...
Big Hank.
I'm about to pop downstairs.
He leaving us to
next
party.
game. Yeah.
That's
He
fire.
said he wanted to come on. I said I'll bounce out
We can
for you.
have fun.
Most people can't even tell the difference between us anyway. So.
Well, you don't have the hat on. That's the difference today. You know what I'm saying?
Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
All right, welcome.
Appreciate you, big dog.
My dog Hank on the show, here to break down the Broncos game. And since we got everybody's big takeaways as Hank sits down, Henry, Hank, what was your big takeaway from this game?
Well, first of all, just an honor to be sharing a couch with quarterback birthday expert Knowshon Moreno.
Yes.
Knowing Jaden Daniels' birthday was in December, that's impressive. That's impressive. Oh my goodness. They couldn't tackle. There were some run fits, but
that's true.
Even with the issues they had with some of the fits and some of the lanes that were there, even when they got to the running back, they weren't able to bring him down.
Yeah.
If you're just able to bring him
Drag-alongs,
down the first time, not get dragged, and I get half the time it was Josh Allen who was dragging you, and that's just going to happen. In some ways, that was kind of the difference, though. You might have gotten off the field a couple of times. You might not have let him score every single time in the second half if you stopped him when you hit him.
I think that was a big difference in this game because stopping the run is very critical in the playoffs, right? And there was times when these guys had TFLs, 2-yard loss, 3-yard loss, and it turned out to be a 4-yard carry, a 5-yard carry. I don't know how that's even possible, but to wrap up a guy and get drugged 5 more yards is where I think that hurt us all season long is where I said at the beginning of the show we need a linebacker that can come in and be a big presence. Where we're cleaning up the pile. We got somebody that's right here. We're making plays in the backfield where now we're getting 3rd and long situations. I feel like our defense is always in the 3rd and short situation. Do we come out of it and win? Yes. But let's put these guys in some bad situations and help out the pass rush a little bit more.
Yeah, we weren't doing a great job tackling today, but did feel like we got carried. I wouldn't say the guys were super out of position to where they were getting 20 yards or 10 yards or 15 yards a pop, but they were turning a 4-yard gain into a 7-yard gain. They were turning a 3-yard gain into a 6-yard gain. It was just a little bit of dragging the pile, and it wasn't the best shot. What's up, No?
Come on. I mean, guys.
Wait, before we go any further, we got Zach coming in.
Oh.
No, I'm just playing. Go
No,
on.
I see what you're saying. I get it. I totally get what you're saying. But what was the offense showing us that gave us hope that they were going to go down and score, even if the defense stopped them?
There was none. There was none.
That's the thing. When you lose 31-7, you can blame just about anybody.
Yeah.
There's nobody, as Sean would say, everybody has dirt on their hands.
Got it.
Yep.
The offense could have done so much more. The running game was kind of clicking early. I thought they kind of stuck with the running game for a couple drives when they probably shouldn't have at the end, when you probably should have hurried things up. But yeah, I mean, there was really no hope in that second half. There was nothing that gave you any sort of confidence they could come back and win that game.
And I love the way that, we said, bro, don't leave any plays in the bag.
Yeah.
Did you see that on special teams? They do the fake
Absolutely.
pass, fake kick, get us back on the field. Man, love seeing that. Gave us that momentum. I mean,
It was interesting you asked for a lot of 4-man rush, right? They did that a ton today. They didn't really pressure as much as you thought they would go out there and pressure. And I don't know if that was because they was getting beat in the run game a little bit more than normal or what, but I feel like if they would have sent a little bit more pressure, probably would have slowed the run game down a little bit.
Yes.
I just feel like that 4-man rush just wasn't when they were trying to, I don't know if it was soft zone or whatever they was running on the back end. I'll pay attention more at the front. But like I said, it seemed like nobody in that box presence that was helping out in that run game, and which allowed them one. And I think that overload four receiver set that they was lining up in was the factor of that. They did a good job of designing against our defense that just kept them off balance, where the little creases that they got off of 1 or 2 blocks and picking up the 5, 4, 6 yard carries was exactly what they needed for this offense to keep rolling and keep possession of the clock, and that's what they did.
And I didn't mind it as a game plan. Like when they came out and you rush 4, you're containing with the edges, you're sitting back a little bit, some soft coverage. I didn't mind that at the start. But once they go 3, 4 drives and they're shredding you over and over and over, and you realize that's when you got to start sending some blitzes or just doing something to try something new. And it's a lack of a change. That's what frustrated me.
We didn't do that none this year.
No, like
none.
If you were winning, if John Franklin Myers, Zach Allen were just winning inside, getting in Josh Allen's face, you're getting the pressure from the edges, great. Like that's an incredible game plan if it's working. As soon as it doesn't work, though, and you're just letting him sit in that pocket and he's carving you up, you have to do something.
Have to.
Yeah. Football's all about making adjustments, the first half, second half, finding ways to, make your team better, to compete with what not only you thought you were going to get, but what you're actually getting on game day. But let's go out to our expert, the one and only
Big
Zach is here, brought to you by
Big Zach.
Bet365. Here's our in Buffalo. Zach, what's up, man?
Fellas, it's good to talk to you, but unfortunate in these circumstances. A disappointing end to a good season. That's what Sean Payton said at the podium to start after this 31-7 beatdown in Buffalo. And guys, I just want to piggyback off a couple things you said. Jurrell, right when I joined, you were talking about how the Broncos weren't able to get any pass rush, and it's because they just were never in a position where they could truly pin their ears back and rush the passer. When you're running for 6 yards per carry and you're looking at 2nd and 4 and then 3rd and 1, and then Josh Allen is just able to do a little quarterback sneak for a first down nearly every damn drive. When can the pass rush be alive on 1st and 10? Well, they're going to run the ball on 1st and 10, and that's exactly what they did. And one of the things that Sean Payton said after the game was I surprised that they ran the ball? No, we expected it. We knew that's what they were going to do in their house with James Cook, with Josh Allen. We knew that was going to happen. He was just really surprised, and really he pointed the finger at the execution. And Zach Allen, after the game, pointed the finger at the Broncos defense's execution by saying, we just didn't tackle. And you could see how disappointed he was, because that's really been a huge area for the Broncos of strength is Nick Bonitto, Zach Allen, John Franklin Myers, DJ Jones, Malcolm Roach. Those guys are supposed to be able to stop the run, and they have for the most part, but giving up 200 yards. If you would have told me the Bills run the ball for 200 yards this game, I would have said the Broncos have a 1% chance of winning this game, and that's what happened today. And then, Todd, you pointed to something as well, just about the inability to stop the run, and that's exactly what Zach Allen said. Pretty much Zach Allen and Sean Payton, without being direct about it, put it on the players for their lack of execution.
Zach, I got to ask you, man, it felt like there was just a little bit of back and forth between Vance Joseph and Sean Payton kind of in the third quarter. I don't know what they were talking about, but did you have any insight from the press conference about their conversation?
Well, Todd, it's not the first time we've seen Sean go advance midway through a game. And, I think it was just natural game frustrations, and especially just the way that game was going. And I think the message from Sean to Vance was, get me the damn ball, because my offense can't do anything if they don't have the ball. And then when they did get the ball, they didn't do much with it. But the time of possession, I mean, we talked about the 200 rushing yards. I give the Broncos a 1% chance of winning that game. That just led to the time of possession. And the Broncos did not have the ball. Sean Payton kind of used that as a reason why the offense couldn't do anything. Obviously, Sean's always going to back his offense, and he did with that. That's why he said the offense wasn't able to get into rhythm. Is just they simply never had the ball. Close to near the end of the game, it was 37 minutes to 17 minutes time of possession. That is a losing formula for every team in the NFL, especially one with a rookie quarterback, especially one where no one on the team pretty much has been to the playoffs, especially when you're on the road. That's a losing formula. And so, honestly, it's just everything failed in this game. The coaching failed, offense failed. They couldn't run the ball. And then Sean was calling running plays, I think, way too deep into the third quarter. Like, we get you need to run the ball more. You need to run the ball more throughout the entire game, not just when you're down 21 points. That's when you throw the ball, actually. The defense couldn't stop the run. And then really Josh Allen just kind of took off in terms of throwing the ball. He ended up with almost 300 passing yards, 138 passer rating. So it was not just the ground game that was getting torched. The entire defense got torched. And then special teams as well. Will Lutz make the field goal at the end of the half. You have one job there. I think now, at the end of the day, we can't really point to Will Lutz and say, like, man, the game was on him. I think he might have been sort of relieved how the second half went because the game wasn't on him, but you got to make that. They had some big returns as well. Penalties were not in the Broncos' favor. So, I mean, this is just a loss all the way around for the Broncos. And when you're a 9-point underdog, you're going to lose that game when you look like that.
Yeah, I mean, the fake punt, too. Like, you have the fake punt that works, and you don't convert that into points.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you
That
pinned them at the 1 yard line, and that was the one time they didn't score all day, but still, like, it's just brutal. I'm curious what you thought of how Bo played.
I thought Bo was the best part of the game. Without going through all 53 players, I thought Bo was a C or a B in this game, where pretty much every other aspect was a D or an F. Bo wasn't going to put his team on his back and win this game, and honestly, Sean wasn't really allowing him to, and that's what surprised me. Again, I was surprised when the Broncos were running the ball down after down when there's 2 minutes left in the third quarter and they're down 14 points and they haven't done anything on offense since the first drive. Guys, they had 70 yards of offense on their first drive. Then late in the fourth quarter, they only had 160 yards since then. It was just incompetent offense, incompetent defense. But I honestly thought when Bo had opportunities, he did well. There was a point in the game where I think he only had like 4 incompletions late in the third quarter, and 3 of them were drops. Like his receivers did not help him at all.
I was just about to ask you that. What was his composure like on the sideline after that many drops? Because normally, we get to see the sideline view. They peeing in on the quarterback. They really didn't show him that much on the sideline to see his reaction. So I'm taking that as he must have been holding his composure pretty well over there. But I would have been upset if I was him, because like that really was a whole change in this game. They dropped a lot of key passes down there that could have flipped the game a lot. What was his composure like?
I mean, it's from Cortland Sutton down to Troy Franklin. It was everyone that wasn't able to make plays when Bo was able to get them the ball. And his composure, he kept his composure. Look, the only time he's lost his composure was in that Raiders game when he went off on Sean Payton. And I think Bo has a very good understanding of where his place is with this team now. He is a captain, but it doesn't mean he can just go and scream at everyone. What I'm very interested to see is if this is an area where he takes that next step next year, because he was a captain this year. He's got the respect. Now that he doesn't have that rookie tag on him, Jurrell, does he feel comfortable going up to a guy like Cortland Sutton and saying, get your stuff together during the game? Now, Cortland still had a good day statistically, 75 yards. It's certainly not all on Cortland, not even close to all on Cortland. But does he have that ability to go up to veteran guys and be that type of leader? Look, we've seen it. You kind of have to have a little a-hole in order to be a great quarterback. We see it from Tom Brady. We see it from Peyton Manning on the sidelines throughout his career. I'm curious to see if that's a step that Bo takes this season. But Jurrell, instead, the cameras, instead of being on Bo on the sideline, they were on Josh Allen, getting a little love from the refs, saying, it's okay, Josh, you don't have to worry about it. We'll make up for it next time.
Right? That's exactly what was going down, man. That was crazy. We was talking about that earlier, how we ain't never seen that a day of my life playing a game of football where the referee comes to the sideline, like literally one-on-one conversation with you. Normally it'd probably be at the sideline, but talk about coming to your bench while you sit down putting your coat on and then give you a pat on your helmet and walk away. That's kind of crazy. But this type of NFL we in nowadays, where the quarterback get protected at all costs. And whatever way we can make it happen, we're going to make it happen. Who is that we seen? Patrick Mahomes earlier in the year, right? When the ref come, he's like, hey, ref, you gotta let me know when he close. But we know it's happening. So there's no shocker. It just sucks that, it's now starting to be very blatant now, So Hopefully we get that.
Literally,
fixed.
I mean, they couldn't hold that one back, Jurrell. And
Man.
I'm glad that you guys haven't seen that because I've been covering this league for 9 years, but then I've also been a fan for my entire life. I've never seen it, but then talking to veteran reporters that have been covering the sport for 30, 40 years, they said they had never seen it, where the guy is all the way on the bench. The refs need to probably answer for that one, but we can't blame this game on the refs. And in fact, that play, the Broncos really benefited from. The defensive player of the year, Pat Surtain, maybe had his second worst play of the year and didn't get called for it. So Broncos actually lucked out from the refs there. It was just a very bizarre look after the fact.
Yeah. No, and then all the calls went the other way. Like right after that, it was just over and over.
Did.
But even beyond the calls, it was just like bad breaks. Like there was the one Brandon Jones with the hit on the defenseless receiver, which like he hit him hard. It looked like he hit him the way he's supposed to though. There was the like PJ Locke's fingertips were inches away from the ball. There was the touchdown 4th down. I'm curious what you thought, Zach, or whether somebody talked about this. As much as they did lose that game by like 24 points or whatever, it felt like it was a game that came down to inches over and over and over again. The field goal goes doink off the post. They just missed every single one of those on top of probably just not having as much talent.
Yeah, but that is the NFL. Most 90% of games are going to come down to a couple of plays, and it's just the better team comes up with more of those. And the Broncos were clearly not the better team today because they didn't come up with any of those. And I totally understand what you're saying, Henry, but that wasn't really the feeling after the game. In fact, the feeling after the game in the locker room, talking to guys, man, this was a good season. And I know that's what a lot of people from the outside are saying is now, like, look, disappointing end to a great season. That's what I'm saying, too, because that's the damn truth. But not inside that locker room. They are pissed. They are very unhappy how this game went from offense to defense to coaching. And Zach Allen was about as down as I've ever seen him this year after this game. So the Broncos are taking this loss tough and their message moving forward. And I thought this was very interesting from Sean Payton. He said, we need to figure out how to play these games at home, meaning playoff games. Well, Sean, the way you play playoff games at home is you win the division. That means you knock off the Kansas City Chiefs. And not just when they're playing backups in Week 18. You got to do it once or twice during the season and then win the division. You can't lose both games to the Chargers. You have to win your division to do that. So that's kind of the next step for this team, and I expect that to be the messaging this entire offseason from the Broncos is we got to go win the division.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, Zach. I mean, I feel like that's better said than done. I mean, especially when you look at this division, when you got the Chiefs that went to the playoffs, you got the Chargers that went to the playoffs, we went to the playoffs. I feel like every year it's going to be a showdown when it comes to this division because, I mean, I feel like each team is going to get better as the years go on, right? But real quick, from my knowledge, every year the team is different. You know what I mean? Guys leave, guys come, and when you look at this team, right, you would hope a lot of guys stay, right? I guess just from my knowledge, what guys are going to be leaving that played a real big impact on this team this year that we might have to fill their void next year? Is there any guys that come off your mind real quick that you could think of?
I'll be hung up on you.
Well, goodbye.
Guess he didn't want to answer that question.
That's
he
a
did
tough
not like
one.
that question.
That's a tough one. No, just think about it because, like, even when we went to the Super Bowl, what year was that versus the
2013?
13 versus the Seahawks. I mean, that year, the next year, the team was just totally different.
For sure.
From all the offensive side, from the defensive side. So I just would like to know, I mean, just offhand, if you could think of guys that are going to be gone next year that we're going to have to fill their void.
Yeah, Jurrell, I'm so bummed that you cut off. It sounds like you were asking a great question, but I think I know what you're asking.
No, you're good. That was no.
Yes, I'm sorry. That is Knowshon. I was looking right at you.
We all look alike.
But it was a great question. I'm gonna throw Henry in there too. You guys all look alike.
Oh,
I don't know what you're talking about, Todd.
Compliment to me.
And it's just a couple of guys talking ball, guys. And so Knowshon, see, getting confused. The good news is the Broncos are going to have a better cap situation next year. They still have $35 million in dead money for Russ next year, but it's better than the $53 million they had this year. So they're going to have more cap space, and the guys that are free agents this year, with no disrespect, aren't guys that have a big impact on the team. So the Broncos, it's not like they're in fear of losing some big-time guys that they have to retain, and that's going to cut into their salary cap space. They are going to be able to go out on the open market and pick up some guys. But the key is, can they have as good of an offseason this coming year with more money as they did this past year with less money? Last year, they went out and they did the best bargain shopping that any team can do, from Brandon Jones to Malcolm Roach. They picked up a lot of key guys, and then they nailed the draft. Can they do that again this year? This offseason is going to be about what George Payton and Sean Payton can do together, because they have an opportunity to continue to take another big step this year. The Broncos way outperformed expectations this year. Now teams are going to be looking at them and not sleeping on them. How can they combat that? And they can add some big pieces now, but it's about hitting those pieces and not swinging and missing like other Broncos teams have done for this past decade.
I feel you, Zach. Well, thank you, man. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow. I know we had a great game plan for this week and more Super Bowl guests if the Broncos had won, but I guess we'll have to save that to next year when the Broncos are in the playoffs again and they do win in the first round. We'll make sure we have.
What are you talking about, Todd? We have you every day. That's a Super Bowl champ.
That's so true.
There we go.
That's true.
I like that. I like the way you put that. But appreciate you, man. We'll see you here tomorrow at 11 a.m.
See you, fellas.
Appreciate you, Zach.
I just hope
Back.
when it comes to the Broncos.
Can't
You feel
be.
me? I feel like, do I see Bo getting like 10 times better than he is? Not necessarily. There's some small things that he has to work on. We all
Yes.
see that, right? But he's not going to get 5 times better than he is, right? So he's there already. He's at the ceiling,
Who
right?
says,
See,
though?
That's the great part about it. I don't necessarily see that he necessarily got to get his skills better. I think he has all the skills that it takes to be a great quarterback. What now needs to be done is understanding, one, patience. I think he have a hard time of just sitting there. You see that deep bomb when he threw any play where he makes a good play downfield, it's when he's been patient. He sits there, takes the hit, and deliver. And that takes years in the NFL, probably 2-3 years of a good quarterback coach or experienced head coach telling you, Bo, you're going to take a hit. We're going to take care of you, make sure we get a run game that can protect you. But when it's time for us to need you to deliver a pass, sit there and take a hit. One, he fixed that. And then two, you get some accountable receivers that can come up with some big plays, make separation, make it where I'm not forcing passes all the time. Bo game goes to a whole new level. And what changes that is a true run game. When you can build a true run game and help him out, he got all the skill sets. Now we're just helping him out, putting the pieces in place for him.
I just hope that we just not, or now, I mean, you know how we get spoiled real quick.
Very fast.
Now that we're here again, there's still a process that has to be made, has to be done, right? And it's not easy to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. I think this process might even be harder than previously. Because before you needed receivers, you needed running backs, you needed tight end. The offensive line wasn't good enough. The defensive line wasn't good enough. You needed pass rushers. You needed, like, every position, you knew that you had to go get guys. At this point, I look at the defense and say, every starter on this defense is a starter in the NFL. Now, they might not be all pros, Pro Bowl, but you don't have those holes anymore. Offensively, you still have, like, you could use a running back, you could use a tight end, but now it's figuring out what you want to change instead of just, like, trying to patch the problems you have. And it's just, like, a little bit different thought process that's harder to, it's easier to miss, I think. I think it's easier to miss.
It'll be interesting. Before we head out of here, let's get into these Super Chats. First one coming in from Rebuild This Team. Knowshon, Bo having more rush yards than our RB is scheme or personal? I think it's a question.
Personnel or scheme?
It's scheme.
Personnel scheme? Yeah, I think it comes down to scheme.
Okay.
At the end of the day. Because, like I said, Javonte had 7 for 29. I mean, it ain't a lot, but he still averaged 4 per carry. You know, give the guy 14 more touches. Who knows where that turns into? Or even like a Jurrell or some of these other guys, right? That might turn to something more productive. So I think at the end of the day, it's more scheme. And then, Bo, he's able to do it with his legs. So that's why you see him sometimes having more yards than our running backs.
I will say, it hurts that Javonte's best game is 4.1 yards per carry. Yeah. Like, we're like, he had a great game, and you're just like, this is. I wish this was one where you're like, there was more out there for him,
Yeah. I'm interested to see really what they do with the running back position next year. Yeah. Because there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of things they can do, whether it's the draft, whether it's free agency. I'm interested to see how they maneuver the pieces in that room. Next one coming in from 5555-ish. Thanks for the amazing coverage. I was never able to catch the weekday shows live, but I always made sure to rewatch Todd's Inside Scoop section. I'm a noob when it comes to football, so I really enjoy the play breakdowns. Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate it. We'll definitely have more play breakdowns as the years progress. And then hopefully we are, get some good partnerships, maybe get some video, not just clips, but, one step at a time.
One step.
Next one coming from Ching Ling King. Knowshon needs a new Twitter banner. Dolphins? LOL.
Oh, snap. Yeah, I can't lie. I haven't been on Twitter in a minute.
Yeah.
I probably still do have that. That's
If you click on Knowshon, it's Dolphins right there.
That's ridiculous.
It is.
You know what? Thank you, Chang Wing. What is it, Chang?
Chang Ling.
Chang Ling.
Chang Ling King.
Chain linking.
Appreciate that, dog. I need to change that. Appreciate
You need to change it so badly. Somebody paid $5 to tell you.
Yeah.
Wait, maybe you need to help me change it, bro. Maybe you in that field, bro. Help me out. Help me, please.
You got the army crawl. Since it's like the long one, it should be you
clean.
with the army crawl. Yeah, against the Chiefs. Yeah, that's the one.
See what I mean? I need people like that.
Next one coming in from Amin. Broncos were soft today. D-line and LBs got bullied all game. Even PS2 got Allen Iverson, SMH. Drops from Sutton, Vele, and Troy. Need to add weapons.
I'm with you.
Yep.
I'm with you.
We
I
all-
said that was
yeah.
the whole key to this game was that defense was getting pounded.
Yeah.
I mean, left and right. No one could fill up. No one could tackle.
Yeah.
No one was covering. It was just an overall bloodbath on that defense side of the ball. And I know you don't have to blame the defense, and we say we weren't gonna blame, but to play that soft in a playoff game, you got to take blame.
Yeah.
You got to take blame.
Mac Hollins is going to get fined for stepping over Pat.
What? A fine?
I bet he's getting fined. I'm
Yeah.
curious
Yeah,
how
that's
much
probably right.
how much of a fine is worth it to step over the defensive player of the year.
Wow.
Right?
We look
none of
Pat, but
this
like
work.
that's
The defensive player of the year
I
gets
didn't like
stepped
that he
over.
pushed him in his head, though.
He pushed me. I didn't even
That
know
was
He
bad.
pushed him in his head like as he was getting up. Like,
And then kicked
But
him while he
defense,
was
y'all do
down.
that all
Yeah,
the
that
time.
was trash.
Y'all do that when y'all getting up. Y'all push off our face mask when y'all getting up.
Yeah.
Or put your whole body on us. You be doing it too.
No, it's different. We're trying to get to the next play. You know what I'm saying?
If I'm Pat, I'd say Pat should have taken him down. You had his leg. It's a 15-yard penalty on Mac Hollins. Negate that. It's offsetting penalties. You
Uh-huh.
drag him down. You don't let him do it.
get that.
Next time, we'll see.
Yeah.
They'll definitely go, head to head again. Next one coming in from him in. Broncos defense got exposed versus every great QB.
It's true.
They can't get off the field. These teams dominate time of possession. Need an upgrade at strong safety, inside linebacker, and nose tackle.
Definitely inside.
You know, he was really feeling this. He paid $10 for this. So,
Yes, exactly.
I
he
agree.
came with the exact same thing
I
again. So
agree
he
with
feeling
him.
strong.
I know.
I sprayed 10 times.
I do.
Think
yeah.
about
Very
the quarterbacks
much.
we all
It's
went.
true.
The great ones we
It's
went
true.
against. I mean, it was a lot of backup quarterbacks we went against. And we
The
went
position I
against.
said we need the most, linebacker.
Killed Kirk Cousins,
Somebody
but then all of a
stop the
sudden he
run,
stunk.
Safety.
True,
We need
Yeah.
those.
true.
I agree. man.
It does.
I agree.
It hurts to be adding nose tackle and safety to that because I thought PJ
I
played
like
well all
safety.
season, but
I
then
like
all of a
safety.
sudden
He
he had a tough
disappeared.
game today.
He
Like
disappeared. I
DJ
get
Jones, good player, but then like after this today, it's like oh.
And he was flying.
And I
So
don't
you-
totally.
But do you scrap the entire
You
year
don't.
off of one game?
You
No.
don't.
But
But it
Yeah.
stings that
consistent.
is like on a list like that after that game because it was bad. And it should, even if it shouldn't be.
And it is not saying that those guys can't be here and still play. I would
Totally.
like to still have, that backup, that reserve. And what's your depth chart like? What's your depth like? I mean, where was what's his name at? Got a name from Arkansas. What's his name? Linebacker. Come on.
Oh, Drew Sanders.
Where was Drew at? You know what I'm saying? We just might need a little more depth
Yep.
when it comes to those positions that you can rotate guys in and out.
Is it hard that I think PJ is good enough to be a starter in the NFL.
Yep.
Is it hard though if the Broncos go sign a safety to then say PJ you're coming off the bench because we added somebody? Like what does that do to a locker room?
Depends on the guy. It
Yeah.
depends on who he is as a person. I think PJ has fought really hard to get to the position that he's in, but I
Yes.
think ultimately he's a good enough player and a good enough teammate if the Broncos did decide to go and get somebody where he has to come off the bench. He would be frustrated, but I think he would show up to work and do his job.
Yeah.
Which is
And he's had a
all
good
you
season.
could ask from people.
He looks like a starter.
Absolutely. Next one coming from Danimal. Real quick, make sure you guys hit us with a thumbs up. I know the Broncos lost, but you know what I'm
Yes.
saying? We're still here giving good coverage, and make sure you guys hit us with a thumbs up. Next one coming from Danimal. I don't care about this loss today. We had an awesome season and have an even better journey to look forward to with Nix as our quarterback of the future. Enjoy the offseason because the future looks bright, and sack Lutz.
I would hate to be a kicker.
Yeah.
I know.
It's tough.
So
It's like the
tough.
worst job to have in
It's
the
a
pros.
tough job,
dude.
bro.
Like, Sheesh.
Kicking in
a tough
Buffalo
job.
is hard. Like the wind coming off those lakes, and you're this far from that going in.
Man.
It's just a tough job. I think
Yeah.
that it's just one of those things where I guess, position players, we're like, bro, you over there all day. What you doing, son? Like, come on. Like, if I was doing one thing all day.
Yep.
But
I think that makes
it's
it
a
so
tough
funny.
job, bro.
I think that makes it so funny because we all give them hell about it, right? Like, you got one job, Think about how that hard
It's tough,
that is,
bro.
though.
It's tough.
You got one time. You ain't like
Let me
I
ask
get
you a
4
question.
tries at. I got one opportunity, and I've been sitting here for
Right.
5,
You shouldn't be sitting
20
though. You
games.
should be kicking.
Yeah.
20 minutes.
You should be
Extra
kicking the
point
whole
every
time.
15 minutes. Yeah.
Is it like a free throw? Is it like saying, okay, I'm going to get my best
That's
free
hard.
throw shooter to go up there? It's more difficult than that.
Yes, I say it's more
Way
difficult
more
than that.
difficult than that.
But I mean, it was 50 yards. And I mean, that's a
Yeah,
long
that's
field
a
goal,
long
but I think that's
field.
a
Yeah.
makeable
It's
field goal.
very doable. Very
I'm
doable.
trying to
There's
compare
no
it to
reason why you
something. What
missed
can you
it.
compare it where it's like, all right, you got to come up here and do it once. It's almost like a golfer, okay, on a par 3, putting it 10 feet from the hole. I guess they can do that most of the
Yeah.
time.
Put it on the green.
It's like hit the green. It's hit the green.
Okay, it's hit the green?
Par 3, hit the
Yeah,
green.
par
That's
three,
not
hit the green.
Okay.
If you're a golfer and that's all you do, you should be able to hit the green on par 3.
You should.
Yeah.
I'd be cut so fast though.
Yeah,
Next
same.
one coming in from Maine Taylor. Do y'all think VJ returns? I think he shouldn't.
That's a great question, though.
I don't think it's a matter of whether he should or should not. I think there may be other opportunities out there for him. But as far as what he did with the defense this year, does he deserve the right to be the defensive coordinator again? Absolutely, in
Yeah,
my
definitely.
opinion.
I would like to see him back, honestly. I would like to see him back. You know what I mean? Just keep on developing and keep on getting that defense better. I think I heard that, last year he didn't really get to put in his own stuff, and this year it was more of his own little scheme, right? To give him that, some years to kind of work with that and develop players and put players in the position that you want to be. But like you said, Todd, if a position calls and it's a head coach position, it's kind of hard for a coach to turn that kind of money down and that
definitely.
opportunity down because not many people get it.
Yeah.
We already know that the
Yeah.
Jets have called the Broncos and asked if they could interview Vance Joseph, so we don't know that'll be the team. Or it's a couple other teams that could use a head coach right now. So very interesting to see where VJ will end up next year.
Defense great all year.
Yep.
Tiny bit inconsistent. There were
Very
some there
inconsistent.
there are some halves in there where you just didn't have answers. And I think on a day like today, those emotions when it's the last thing you feel, it stinks.
Yes.
And I think I get where the fans are coming from, but it was a really good season from that defense, better than anybody could have expected.
I
And
take
I
this
think-
defense every year.
Yes. And I
Every
think
single year.
Yep.
And I think we also have to be realistic when we look at things, because
Josh Allen?
being consistent 4 quarters for an entire game is tough. I would say that the Bills, even today, they were inconsistent for the first 2 quarters.
They did this to
I think
everybody.
the second half they played phenomenal football, but the first 2 quarters they weren't phenomenal.
Yes.
I mean, 10 points in the first half for a Bills second seeded team that has blown out, but it's not a good first half. So I think ultimately the Broncos did good, and I think ultimately this defense did good. Can't expect them to be lights out every single week, every single quarter, every single game.
Yeah, and they did put 30 on just about everybody. They had the most more 30-point games than any team since the 2013 Broncos.
Wow.
So that's what we're talking about. They gave up multiple sacks 3 times all year. Only 14 total sacks. Broncos got Josh Allen a couple times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't a good game from the defense, but it wasn't. You got to get rid of VJ bad.
No, not at
I'll
all.
take this every
Next
day.
one coming in
I
from
would just
Paul
love to see
B.
him. I would love to see him get an opportunity to stay too, because a lot of times they dismantle a great defense like this, and now you just mess up the whole
Right,
thing.
yeah. That can mess things up.
That
as
mess a
well,
lot of
man.
things
Yeah.
up.
Add a dope
Give him
linebacker,
opportunity,
even if
yeah.
it's just Alex. Add like a 6 safety, another. Add to it. Build from here.
I guess more of the question would be if Vance wants to stay or leave or not, right? Not
That
if
would
we
be
want
the
to keep
question.
him.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next one coming from Paul B. Knowshon Moreno. Jaden Daniels
We
is the
discussed-
same age as
Okay,
Bo
okay.
Nix.
We
Yeah,
discussed.
So
Both
we
24.
discussed that now.
There,
right?
there is a month gap.
It's a month
As
gap in
the
there.
quarterback birthday expert will let us know.
Next one coming in from MTN Aesthetic. Payton needs to own that game plan. Felt like we schemed around Bo's limitations. Year 2 will be interesting. Not sure if we've got a franchise quarterback. I think we definitely have a franchise quarterback. I don't think that's the question now. It's just about how good of a franchise quarterback can he be, because he's
Right.
our quarterback.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah.
Next one coming from Mason Bates. Hell of a season. Give me one target in free agency that you want the Broncos to go after this offseason. Boshan coming in 25, 26. Calling it now.
I've got a
Who you got?
Just throwing names out there. You got T. Higgins out there. You got
nice.
Amari Cooper's out there. DeAndre Hopkins. Tight ends, not as many options. You got Aaron Jones, Najee Harris.
Yeah.
You got I mean, that's basically everybody on
I think
offense, off
for
the top of
this
my head.
team and what we're looking for, we need somebody young and expensive.
Yeah, I would like some young.
Like really
Love and
expensive.
explosive. You say explosive?
I say expensive.
Expensive.
Like T. Higgins.
Explosive.
Like
T. Higgins.
you know, you get T. Higgins, you're gonna be playing top dollar, but at the same time, you're gonna have him for 5 to 6 years. I think if we go out there and get Amari Cooper or DeAndre Hopkins, by the time Bo is
Yeah,
ready to
you
win a
don't
Super
want that,
Bowl,
yeah.
he might be out the door.
Yeah.
He might be retired. I just don't want that to be the case.
What do you think of Aaron Jones?
I like Aaron Jones a lot.
He's going to turn 30 in a few months.
yeah,
Veteran. you
Playing
know,
really well, though.
Yeah,
he is.
for sure. Veteran in the game. Can do some explosive stuff on offense, for sure.
Yeah.
I look at the draft, man. I like to go young with it. I think there's some really explosive, some really good sleepers when it comes to wide receivers, especially in the SEC. Ole Miss got a couple. Yeah, SEC. You know, we got the wide receivers.
There's nobody even in the
He's
SEC
not one
in the
person.
championship right now.
Listen.
If it wasn't for
chill out.
Texas coming over
Chill out.
to be in the SEC, y'all were out in the
Chill
first
out. A lot of
round.
injuries in the SEC. You know what I'm saying? Listen, man. A lot of injuries, man. I get it. Anyway, there's some sleepers out there when it comes to receivers in all conferences, honestly, for real. And the same thing with backs. So I know y'all looking at free agency, but
Yeah.
I look at some of these young guys coming out that we can kind of to do some explosive things for us.
I agree. Next one coming in from Rod Blocker. The future is bright. 3 pieces away, and we good. Yeah, I think we're 3 to 4 pieces away from being a formidable opponent against Super Bowl contending teams.
Yeah. I would say 4 or 5 pieces, and Bo
Stepping up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Bo turns into I don't need him to be Joe Burrow, but I need him to be pushing Joe Burrow, playing that way. Pushing.
I don't
Push
see it.
That's why you keep
To win a Super Bowl. To win a Super
I think
Bowl.
I think he's right here.
The skills
Yeah.
to
Without
do it.
the-
I think he has the skills.
Without the
thing is
drops
just
today, he has
patience,
200
dog.
yards in his first start in the playoffs as a rookie, and no turnovers and a touchdown. I think that's
him.
really good though.
Yeah,
but
that's
as a
him.
rookie, I think everybody gets better from their rookie season.
I think some of it might even
you
be
think your
trust.
rookie season was your best?
Yes, Todd, because I was 22, almost 23. And then I got
And he's
older.
only 24.
Running backs are
He's
different.
25,
Running
about to be
backs.
25. So yes, with age, it's gonna come with
But
experience.
what did you feel like you fell off?
weapons.
My 3rd year when I was
With
not
weapons
fell off.
around you, your experience develops so much more.
But wait,
You
no.
need
When
weapons.
did you feel like you fell
You
off?
need weapons. He had no weapons this
Yes,
year.
you had
I agree.
injuries. You
Yeah,
said that
injuries.
you
So I
limited
don't know.
your
I
career.
never-
Bo needs to
I
be
never got
trusted
to-
too.
But outside
Bo
of your
had
injuries,
zero
when did you
weapons
feel
this
like
year.
you couldn't play at a high level anymore?
Mims.
Let Bo go empty. Let
Without
him carve
What
him up
age?
underneath.
Yeah. What
Oh,
age?
I think he can do it.
I don't think I got a chance to really feel that. That might be more, Jurrell's played many years. I didn't get a chance to really play that long because injuries kind of halted that. So I don't know. I never really felt like, oh, damn, I'm at this age, I can't do it anymore because I never got the opportunity to kind of feel that.
When did
Definitely.
you feel like?
So
When did you feel
I got to about year 6, year 7 when it
So
was
how
like,
old were
all
you?
right, time.
31?
So about like
30?
I'm probably like 28, 29.
28? Okay.
And now it's like, all right, it's time to now get into the playbook. Really take the knowledge of the game, understanding concepts.
Because you felt like you were at your prime at that.
Yeah,
that
where
age.
it's like, okay, it's not really much more I can go out there and keep learning and keep developing
Yeah.
when it comes to skill-wise.
Yeah.
I didn't hit that part of it. I know how to do the right pass rush move. I know when to do this. I know when to hit that, right? Now it becomes what to expect on this first, second, and third down. All right, cool. They're going to come out and run most of the time on first down. All right, now I know I don't got to worry about pass rush. Let me lock in more gearing towards run. When you can understand concept like that, that's where it became that shift for me was like, all right, get away from understanding your skills and understanding offensive concepts.
Yeah.
But that comes with him getting that. He was 28, he said.
Yes.
So, Bo, that's 3 more years.
But that's before he's in his prime. He's saying he was 28 before he felt like he was in his prime. Not that he was out of his prime. So his prime's not even being hit until
So
3 or
you're
4
like
more
reading
years.
the defense's mind.
You know what I'm saying?
He's a couple years.
He has 3
And
years
we're
to
still
take
like,
back.
Assuming that
more
comes.
years.
Assuming that
this whole
comes.
10 years, though, that we got Bo for 10, I
got
feel
2
like
years.
we not got to stop with that.
A year.
All of them quarterbacks-
His game doesn't allow him to be at that
So
same level
it's
in 10
different.
years.
The reason why it's so different,
You got age
though,
like LeBron.
You have to remember,
You have to be
and-
LeBron, age like him.
But you gotta remember too, in college, half of the time you're not told to go out there and read a defense.
Yeah.
In college, they giving you a play,
At
and
most,
this
you're
is your
reading a player.
person.
Right,
You got
right.
1, 2, and if 1 and 2 is not open, you tucking and running. Especially being at Oregon.
Yeah.
So now he's having to sit there and read that actual defense. That takes a year or two to really get the concept of saying, let me go from here, across here, and I can come back here. And one, to be able to read the offense, before you even get to that, you understand he can sit there in the pocket and be patient.
I just think about his legs. Because a lot of what is happening now is coming from his legs, and that's not going to be there later on in the future.
Yeah, so I turned 28 in like 2 weeks. I'll say my legs were gone after 26. By 27, I am not what I was. I am not what I was.
28.
That is true. There was the toe thing. Yeah.
I don't know if it was ever there.
So we got to hope that Bo is a little bit healthier than Hank.
But he's he gets better.
He gets better treatment.
Definitely. He definitely gets better. But
he eats better.
I don't know. I just don't, he's not 10 times better than he is right now. This is what Bo is. And there's little things that he could work on, and it'll get better through the years.
I think
but we
so
don't
much
have
of it's trust. I think
he's good, man.
I think as a rookie, he's protected a bit. I think you hope next year to open things up. You expect to go empty more. Let him change more routes. Let him say, I like this matchup.
Yep.
And I think that's where the growth might come from, is just like allowing him to kind of see what he can do.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Let's see.
He's smart enough for that.
Next one coming from Rob Blocker. I'm not mad at anyone. We had our chances and we didn't seize the opportunity. Drew and Alex be back healthy. Free agency attacked off build depth through draft. Build depth.
Defense. I think defense.
Okay. Through draft.
Yeah.
Free agency attack offense.
I agree with him on that one. Defense, baby.
I think the case for building the defense through the draft, going back to the PJ thing, like, can you just sign somebody and say, PJ, you're on the bench now? I think that's tough. I think it's easier to say, I'm drafting this guy in the 4th round. If something happens to a safety, he gets his opportunity, he takes it, and he goes. I think that's a healthier way than just saying, like...
That's how it usually goes. I feel like, unless you totally outright beat the guy, in free agency, outright beats the starter. But yeah, you see that where they want to see what they saw with me. That's how it was. They wanted to see what Ronnie looked like. Like, hey, I fumbled in the game. They were like, hey, we want to see what the young guy looks like. And I was like, all right, cool.
And that feels different, though, than saying, like, we're just going to go at that time, like, oh, end of his career, LaDainian Tomlinson, maybe. It's like, no, Sean, you're just number 2 now.
Right.
That would just kind of be a dick move.
I get it.
It's a business. It's a business. Yeah, it's a business.
For sure.
And that's how the game works.
Because McGahee came in, you still got to compete.
Where,
You know what I mean?
I seen it happen before where a dude come in, he had a hell of a season. The next year, they draft somebody, and it's like...
Better get competitive, baby. That's how you got to do it, baby.
Got to do it.
Moving on.
Well, we hope for the Broncos to get really competitive in the next couple of years and hopefully push to win a conference championship and ultimately a Super Bowl. But, got a long road ahead of us, but ultimately the future is bright.
I'm nervous, man.
We'll be here for all of it. We'll start back with the offseason tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock. Make sure you guys check us out, man. Give us a thumbs up on the way out, and we'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Peace.
Get it.
We all silly like the mayor.